March 23rd, 2018.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 42. I am Seth Sturgill, the disaster artist.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
We are disaster artists, Todd.
I mean, yeah, technically.
Much like Tommy Wiseau, the director of The Room, we are disaster artists. I'm sorry if my mic sounds a little different this week. I'm actually using my streaming setup on the table that I use for D&D and stuff. So spatially, it's different. So I don't know if it's gonna sound any different. I did a couple mic tests and it still sounded good, but I don't know if it's gonna sound any different or not. So apologies there if it sounds any different. I do want to open this week, Todd, by reading a comment from a viewer and answering it live. So this was left on our last episode 41, Step Into My Nintendo Hell. And this comment was left by a actually frequent commenter, one of the people who wanted us to do more Let's Plays, which we have provided. And this listener has expressed excitement at our upswing of Twitch streams and Let's Plays and shit like that. Roblox Player 23 asks, which Super Smash brothers would you be? And I don't know what they mean by that. So I'm like, are you asking which characters we main? I guess let's go with that. So let's go through, I guess, our mains. Because I think that's what they're asking.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Who would you say are your mains?
My main one that I go for is Luigi. I love me some Luigi.
You like that stupid attack that he has in Wii U where he just does a bunch of arm flailing?
It's too.
I actually forgot that you play Luigi like that.
Yeah.
I actually forgot that was one of the main ones you actually do play.
Yeah, I played way more Luigi than I should have. Same thing with like a lot of the shit that I do in Smash Brothers is I love the stupid characters. I jokingly played more Wii Fit Trainer than I ever should have.
You know, it's funny because I actually, one of the things that I forgot to mention, it's an incredible omission actually considering who I am. I should have mentioned that Waluigi needs to be a Smash Brothers character. I should have mentioned that in the last episode.
That's a no-brainer.
Dude, the treatment of Waluigi is just disgusting. I mean, he appears as a side character, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, all these Mario's kind of spin-off games, has never had his own game, which is fucking absurd to me. And has never been he's a support character in Smash, but has never been a playable character. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I mean, Waluigi has to have his time to shine. I can imagine, Wario has had some decent little spin-off games. I can imagine a good Waluigi spin-off game.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a great character, you know? I love Waluigi. He's so stupid. I love him so much. My mains in Smash, it's funny, because you and I would do the randoms all the time, where it would just, we would just quickly hit random character, random stage, and just kind of see what we get. And it's funny because I would always get stuck with Olimar, and I kind of learned how to get good with Olimar.
Because I'm gonna say this. In the beginning, when you used to get Olimar, I would beat the dog shit out of you, and it wouldn't even be fair.
I had to adapt.
But yeah, you adapted, and it's just I started getting my ass kind of whipped. I'm like, what the shit is this? This is terrible.
Get your ass beat by Olimar, bitch. No, but I really like. It's funny. I think Smash Wii U and 3DS is that game is so good that it makes it really easy to main a lot of characters. I love the way they handled Mega Man in the game. I love the way Bowser Jr. is a new character, and he's definitely one of my mains. I have a pretty mean Bowser Jr. I love him. I love the way Pac-Man was handled in the game. There's so many. If I had to pick, my main one's probably Game & Watch, Bowser Jr., and I guess Pac-Man are probably my three, and then maybe Dedede. or Meta Knight. And it's funny, in Brawl, Meta Knight was totally my main, even though like people, Meta Knight's kind of OP in Brawl. Meta Knight was definitely, I just liked the way he felt in Brawl. And I don't know. There are some characters where I expected, it's funny, coming into Wii U and 3DS, I totally expected, being such a big Animal Crossing New Leaf fan, when they announced that the Villager was a character. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to play Villager. But I didn't end up really playing him that much.
Well, he's like, the thing with the Villager is like, I feel like he's fun to play, but he just got like, I don't know, he's got like weird setups, like that whole like what is it, like with the axe, like you set up the tree.
It's a lot of setups.
It's just like, ugh.
I would have preferred if they had made like an actual Animal Crossing character, like if KK Slider was a character versus the Villager himself.
Give me what's his name, Rossetti.
Rossetti, yeah. These characters all appear as like support characters or whatever, but I mean, I would almost take them as a playable character over others. But yeah, I mentioned Mega Man. I really like the way they treated Mega Man. Duck Hunt, I actually really liked as well. Ryu is a lot of fun. Cloud's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a really solid, like, well-designed game that I think it's a testament to how well the game's designed that I have so many characters that I legitimately enjoy playing. I mean, we would do our random bullshit, and it was like rare that I found somebody that I didn't like.
That's the one thing I'm like looking forward to. It's when the new one comes out.
The return of the random randoms.
Yes, I need that. Well, one of my favorite memories of the random is I think I got Ganondorf, but I got him like, I think he was like a full brawler variation.
Right.
And
we're just like
I didn't even have to do
powerful.
Yeah, I didn't even have to do like a charge like smash. It was just like boom, knocking you off the fucking map.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh.
Sometimes you just get dumb shit like that and it's just fun and stupid.
Yeah.
But no, man, I think that's what the person meant by the question. So if that's not what you meant, I'm sorry, Roblox player 23, but I answered it the best way that I could. So now that we have that rigmarole out of the way, I did want to just address that since I had you here. Let's start, I guess, by talking about you. Wanted to report back. You finished the Assassin's Creed DLC, and you wanted to talk about it a little bit more, right?
So I not only did I finish the Curse of the Pharaohs, I also regained my 100% of trophies.
Right.
Which I'll get into in a little bit. So yeah, the Hidden Ones versus the Curse of the Pharaohs. I wanted to kind of like how I feel about the two DLCs.
Compare and contrast.
I like the Hidden Ones ending. Like the end, like I feel like the Hidden Ones should have came out like afterwards in a weird way. But I don't know, that's just me. Because I feel like the Curse of the Pharaohs is like really good character development for Bayek in a way. Because like just there's a lot of like, I'm not gonna spoil it because I know you might end up playing it.
Yeah, I'll end up playing it eventually.
But there's like a lot of like, I think some really good character development in Curse of the Pharaohs with Bayek, and I really enjoy that aspect. And then like the Hidden Ones had like a really solid ending for like the whole like Creed, the Assassin's Creed sort of like going forward. And I also just want to like shout out like the afterlives for the Curse of the Pharaohs. That's like honestly like my.
We always have to make that joke, Todd.
No.
Do what, Papa, do what.
But yeah, so there is 4 afterlives in the DLC of the Curse of the Pharaohs, and they're honestly like my favorite part of it. And just because they're each of them are different. There is actually the Duat, which they use for King Tut's afterlife, and that is actually my favorite one. Because it's like this, it's basically always nighttime. It's like it's dark, but it has like this mystical, like sort of like these big blue lotus flowers and like this blue particle effect just always around. Absolutely like gorgeous, honestly. And there's just a lot of just like really good visuals in for the Afterlives, and I think that was like the shit that I really enjoyed. Because again, this is like this whole DLC was kind of like, all right, let's have some fun, kind of like you're fighting giant scorpions at one point. You're just like, okay then.
It just kind of gets stupid with it.
Yeah, get a little stupid with it, but again, it still does a really solid job of having like really good character development with Bayek, and I was surprised by that, honestly. I didn't think they would be able to do it with the Curse of the Pharaohs, because I like when you were the one that told me about this DLC. I think like because I wasn't even really paying attention to the season pass, and yeah, they're gonna do like some stupid DLC with like mummies and shit. I'm like, what?
That's what I was kind of hoping for. I was like, man, this is gonna be this game's Undead Nightmare, basically.
It's not. It definitely is not that. It's stupid, but it also like is serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's levels of stupidity. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to the 100% thing. So I thought it was really dumb. They came out with a discovery tour for like educational purposes, which is honestly way better than I thought it would be.
You thought it was dumb?
What? No.
Oh,
I didn't think it was gonna be dumb. I just thought like I didn't.
You started your sentence by saying I thought it was dumb. I think what you're okay. I think
no. I thought it was dumb that they added trophies.
I see. I speak Tottenese. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you do. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I thought it was dumb that they added trophies for this because it hurt me.
Right.
Because I was like, shit. I wanted my 100% back.
Yeah, I agree. That is dumb.
Yeah. But again, it gave me a reason to check out the Discovery Tour, and I actually like really enjoyed it. And I probably would have enjoyed it more if I handled it a different way than the way I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So the most time-consuming trophy is they want you to do all the tours in the daily life segment of tours, and it's like 20 tours. It's like 20 of them. So the way I did it is I sat there for like like 3 hours, almost like 2.5, 3 hours.
I was gonna ask how long on average.
I honestly, it was like one of those things I would like watch the time go by, and it felt like 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it was just like I wanted to shoot myself by like the 10th or 11th one, because it's like I feel like the way I should have went about it is like I should have like spaced it out, like maybe do like 5 here, 5 like the next day. But I was like, I need this shit now. I need my 100% back. It's like I think I did it like right after I beat the Curse of the Pharaohs. I'm like, all right, let's do this shit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've done stupider shit for trophies.
But this is the thing, though. I'm like, I don't hate the fact that I actually did it, because it's like it's actually interesting. Like one of my, I think I was telling you, like one of my favorite parts about it is actually like seeing the behind the scenes parts of the tour.
Right.
They're like it's like what the development team actually did. Like I think I told you it was like there's one part was like the omnipresence of sand or whatever.
Right.
Omnipresence of sand, and the way they use that and like small little details of like showing people with like toothaches because like the sand would like mix in with the food because there's sand everywhere, and I respected that. I was like, that's cool, shit.
Yeah, I mean, like it's I mean that was really the whole purpose of the Discovery Tour, right? Was to like they wanted this game to be used in classrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think they will definitely be able to, because it's like I think they honestly did a solid job just in like the 20 tours that I did.
Yeah. It's a really neat idea to learn more about the culture. I mean, if you think about it, these Ubisoft does such extensive research on the culture and stuff of the time period that Assassin's Creed is exploring, and all of the research and all of the reference material that they compile for these games has really until now kind of been going to waste.
Yeah.
So I mean, for them to come out with Origins and release a free Discovery Tour update, you know, I mean that's just a brilliant idea, and I think the game is going to be used in classrooms, and it's going to be a really interesting way for people to learn about ancient Egyptian culture.
Yeah, again, like they did a really solid job.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into that game, man. There's been so much, like I had to kind of put it down and dive into other things, and it's been kind of a steady trickle. Like I put it down to play Monster Hunter, and then, you know, kind of falling off of that and playing other things, and you know, now Far Cry is coming out really soon, and A Way Out is right around the corner, you know, so it's not letting up anytime soon. But I will go back to that game. I am going to go back to Assassin's Creed for sure. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with Curse of the Pharaohs?
I think that covers it. I mean, it's like a solid DLC. Just if you're already playing Assassin's Creed Origins, might as well check out the DLC. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to be playing them, and it's going to be one of those things. This is always the way it is with me with these games. Like, I'll go. I think with Assassin's Creed 3, I picked it up on day one, but I don't think I actually sat and played it for like 2 years.
Shit, really?
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed 4 was about to come out, and I was like, you know what? I haven't played 3, but I've had it sitting on my shelf for years now. And then
Must have been disappointing.
I actually don't hate that game. The story is
I don't hate it either, but it's not like amazing.
The story is stupid, but the gameplay and the world and everything was solid. So like, I sat there and I just played the shit out of it, and I just, I think that's really what it's going to take. Is there's going to be a dry time like after God of War, after the kind of dust is settled in the early summer, where I'm just going to have nothing to play but Assassin's Creed, and I'll just dive into it. And because I put a solid 10 to 12 hours into it, and I've really enjoyed it, So I'm looking forward to playing more.
I think I actually just hit like 100 hours in that game now.
Damn, son. That doesn't surprise me. You really liked it. You don't normally 100% games, so it's nice to see you get into it like that. Yeah, I've been playing more Kirby. I wanted to kind of give some updated thoughts on Kirby. I've been playing a lot of it like kind of in handheld mode on my Switch, which is not something I usually do. So we've been kind of like going out for like wedding preparation stuff, getting out of the house a lot lately. So it's been a really nice, like the game controls really well in handheld mode, and it just looks great on the Switch's screen. I don't know, it's good. The more I'm playing it, the less I'm liking it.
Really?
Weirdly, because compared to like if you end up, I know you're talking about maybe picking this up. If you end up picking it up, I think you're going to have a great time with it. But when I'm comparing it to Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot, and really the way the Kirby games have gone, the formula that was established in Return to Dreamland on the Wii, that formula is the formula that Kirby has sort of followed relatively stringently ever since. And I think that this is probably the weakest one out of these kind of core Kirby games since that kind of Return to Dreamland, Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, and now Star Allies. I think Star Allies is probably the weakest one. Still really good, but the thing that kind of pisses me off about Star Allies, maybe pisses off is a little too strong, but the thing that annoys me about Star Allies is that it completely, Kirby games have always been simple. I don't have a problem with that. Star Allies actually has some sections that are a little more difficult for a Kirby game. But the thing that really gets to me, that really irks me about this, is the element of exploration is almost completely streamlined in this one.
Okay.
To an annoying degree for me. I really am having a great time with the game. I love it. It's gorgeous the way it looks, and I like the friend mechanic and everything like that. And I like the way that they interplay, and I like the light puzzle solving and stuff like that. That's all great. But the exploration element is more, and to my mind, more simple than it's ever been before. Like, there are basically 2 collectibles. Occasionally in a stage, there will be a room that culminates in a big button that you press that unlocks another extra stage. And then there are these random puzzle pieces. That's it. Those are the only collectibles in the game. And they are so simple to find. Like, it is not even... You don't have to look out on the beaten path at all. Like, Anastasia was watching me play, and she was getting kind of annoyed watching me play because I was used to playing like Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot, where they would be kind of devious with some of the shit. Like, they would have things up in the air and like hidden like sections that you wouldn't even think to look at. In this one, I mean, there is nothing that is not obvious. If you are playing through the game, you're basically going to also 100% the game. Like,
that's a little lame.
it just is a little, I'm not saying it's bad, but compared to Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot, I mean, there were several times in those games where I had to like replay stages, and I'm just like, holy shit, I can't figure out where this. I know that I'm missing this, but I don't know where it is. It's just a little lame. And then like the way the collectibles are handled, basically you get these random puzzle pieces that fill out these pictures. And the pictures themselves are great, but like, like they're just random puzzle pieces, and there's not a whole lot of, in Triple Deluxe, you got these like really cool like pins that there's like, 300 some odd pins that like gather and kind of culminate on this giant pin board. And I don't know, like it just doesn't feel as satisfying to me. I really like Star Allies, and I'm still going to play it to completion. I'm going to play the shit out of this game. It's a good game, but it really is. I think it's time to move on from this formula. I'm ready now that we have this. I think Kirby needs to be shaken up now, because
it needs the Breath of the Wild treatment.
I don't even know if it needs the Breath of the Wild treatment, because that's such a drastic departure. But this formula now has gotten a little bit stale, and we need to shake it up a little bit more, because that's what Return to Dreamland was on Wii. It's like, oh, holy shit, like this is like a traditional Kirby game, but it feels fresh and it feels new and it feels updated. And now that we've had several games that have followed that formula, and Star Allies is kind of on the weaker end of them, I'm definitely like feeling the fatigue a little bit. I'm a little bit like, okay, let's see what you got, But I'm on the third world. I've 100%ed everything so far. Like nothing's hard, It hasn't been a problem. It's a good game. Don't get me wrong, it's good. I like it, but it just has those little annoyances that bother me. The only other game that I've really been playing, and I was talking about this both to you and on Facebook, the recent remaster of Burnout Paradise is so good. I love it so much. It's I can't even tell you. I described it on Facebook as it's a warm cleanse for the soul, and that's totally what it is. Like, I don't have anything fancy to say about it, man. It's Burnout Paradise. Like, you're just driving cars really fast and crashing into shit. There's something like so cathartic about that. Like, there's something so nice about just turning your brain off, catching up on my podcasts, and just driving really fast and just crashing fucking cars. Like, that's all it is. That the game has no illusions. It's
probably similar to what I used to do with like GTA 4.
Pretty much, yeah. Where you would just kind of turn your brain off, and just kind of go. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have anything fancy to say about it. It's just a great kind of brain dead kind of thing. That's why I was saying I'm probably gonna wind up streaming it. Just to kind of do kind of a chill stream. So, anyway. Burnout Paradise is kind of saving my soul for sure, because, I have this big backlog of like all these things, but fuck that. I'll just, I would rather just crash some cars,
I respect that.
I want to shift the direction of the show a little bit and kind of give some little movie reviews. Because you and I have been slowly going through the movies that we rented together. I think we still need to watch Baby Driver, but within the past week we watched 2 movies. We watched The Disaster Artist, and we watched Blade Runner 2049. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And we they're kind of older movies, so we can't really justify doing a shots on them. Necessarily, but I kind of thought we would give our thoughts on those 2 movies. So let's start off with Blade Runner, since that was the one that we watched first. Man, I feel like an asshole, but like these Blade Runner movies.
Can I set the stage? I'll set the stage.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is already like, okay. So it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was late.
It was like 2:33 in the morning, and I think we just like we played a little bit of. Did we even touch the Division that night?
We did. We played a little Division,
Okay.
and it was
So
like a bad night on the Division too, because we like didn't we have like problems with whatever mission we were playing or something like that? Like
yeah, we were probably getting our ass whooped. I
Getting
think it
our
was like that
asses
the
whooped.
one with like that no, that it was like a big old cleaner boss
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And it was terrible. And we wanted to change things up, so it was like 3 o'clock basically, like 2:30, 3 o'clock. We're like, oh, let's watch a movie. Let's get one of those movies out of the way. And it was my idea to watch Blade Runner first, because the thing with that is I've already seen the second Blade Runner. And so it's already not a good situation. It's like 3 in the morning. I think both of us are pretty tired. But you made some terrible decisions while watching this movie.
What do you mean by that?
Your ass is like laying on your couch, like ready to fucking sleep.
I was like late. I was sprawled out on the couch. I was wrapped up in a nice warm blanket. I was ready to enrapture myself in this world.
And that's the problem.
These fucking Blade Runner movies are just not for me, Todd. They're
Like,
just not for me.
I don't blame you. Like I enjoy the Blade Runner movies. I do. I enjoy the original, and I enjoy 2049. But they are slow. They are very slow movies. Like, and this was just not. Well, this was like the most. This was the worst way to ever watch the Blade Runner movies.
It was a bad
at, like,
way to
3
watch
in the
it,
morning.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But like the movie is like so it's not even just that it's here's the deal, because I think some people will be listening to me saying this stuff and they'll be like, "No, you're just not you're not appreciating that the director is allowing you to just live in this world, and god damn it, do you really need action all the fucking time, you plebeian? Why don't you just exist in this beautifully crafted world that the director's made for you?" And I feel like that's kind of the stance I feel like Blade Runner fans.
That is for the most part the stance most people will have. But there's the thing. I respect all that shit. I enjoy that aspect of the movie. But
no, look, it's just not my cup of tea. Like I love the lore of the movie. I love the world, and I love the the characters are good, the performances are good. It's beautiful. It's like beautifully shot. The plot was like a little bit predictable, I guess, but and like just a like bad villain that's like barely in it. Like I thought you were joking when you said that Jared Leto was in it for
joking.
2 scenes.
His ass legitimately has 2 scenes. Yeah.
He's in legit 2 scenes. That is not a bit. That's for real. And I just, it's not a bad movie, but these Blade Runner movies are just so. It's not even just that they're slow. Like I can appreciate existing in a world. Like I like slow movies like that in some respects. Like I like the first Alien, where you really it's a while before you fucking get to the action element of that. I like these kind of slow burn kind of things, but Blade Runner is just downright plodding to me. Like the pacing is so it wants to be slow and quiet, where there's like 10 fucking minutes of like no dialogue. Mm-hmm. And it wants to let you just live in this world, but then like boom 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 action scene, and you're just like whoa I'm awake now for 2 minutes, and then you go back to sleep.
And during the quiet parts, I'm legitimately like I'm hearing like some like the start of some snoring. I'm like, Seth. Like,
yeah, you made sure that I was awake like several times. You just hear me
Seth, we're on the home stretch. We're almost done.
And the movie's so fucking long. It's like what, 2 hours and like 43 minutes long or some shit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's like 2 hours.
I mean, dude, it was torture. Like, not and again, I like some of the ideas in the movie and stuff like that. It's not like a terrible movie, but it's just like fuck, man. Like, I don't know. I wanted to like that movie. I really because that's always the thing. I get into these discussions with people who are Blade Runner fans, and I tell them like, yeah, I don't really like the first one. I've seen all these different versions of Blade Runner. I've tried. I really want to like it. There is not a motherfucker on the planet Earth that likes sci-fi that wants to enjoy a good sci-fi universe like I do, and I think it is a good sci-fi universe with good performances and good ideas. But fuck, like, it is just as boring as sin, like, and forgettable. Like, I totally, and I told you this, like, I completely forgot basically all of the events of the movie the second the credits started to roll. Like, the actual plot of the movie is not that interesting. Like, the movie is so concerned with its world, and I think that's fine. You made the good point. You made, I think, a very astute observation when you said, while we were watching it, you said this is the opposite of Valerian, where where the visual, both of them have great visuals and stuff like that, and in Valerian it's so fun, but you don't give a flying fuck about what's happening. In Blade Runner, you give a fuck about what's happening, but it is just a monotonous fucking trip through it. Like, it's a monotonous ride through a fun, through a good story, whereas Valerian is a fun ride through a bad story.
It's good, yeah, because that story is like, I don't give a shit about a Valerian story.
Who gives a flying fuck? I mean, it's the same thing with Fifth Element, and I love. Don't get me wrong, Fifth Element's one of my favorite movies of all time. But the story is like dumb. Like, it was love the whole time. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's just, but
shout out to Jared Leto's dialogue.
Yeah, what's he was saying some like dumb shit. Like, I don't even remember some of the shit he was saying. Like, the children own the stars.
Yeah, it's like, we should own the stars. Talking about angels and shit. It's just like, what the fuck is going on?
I don't even know. But conversely, we watched The Disaster Artist, and that movie was fucking great.
My only issue with this movie, my only issue with The Disaster Artist, is I saw way too much James Franco ass.
Well, he committed to the role.
Too much ass. I'm
Yeah, I love The Room. I'm a huge fan of The Room. I think it's great. It's it's a cult classic, obviously, but I just, I've loved The Room for years. It's been the center of the internet memes for years. I can't wait to watch The Room with you one day, because you're gonna love it.
Yeah, that's actually the thing I was gonna say. Is like, my only the only stuff I know about The Room is like the memes. That's all I know.
You probably know like the high marks and and the stuff like that.
Yeah, all
like,
that shit.
All those like classic kind of scenes, but
yeah,
it's the Disaster Artist is definitely an exaggerated tale. And actually, I watched recently a video of Tommy going through some of the scenes and being like, oh, that's not exactly how that happened, or oh, this was really accurate, or whatever. But like, so just the movie captures really well the sort of like, not only is it really funny because The Room is just such a horrible, bad movie, but like, Tommy Wiseau is just such an interesting dude. Like, he's like this weird like vampire man who like is completely private about where he comes from, his age. Like, nobody really knows where the dude's from, how old he is, or how he got his vast sum of money. He pumped like $6 million into the making of The Room, and they're just like, what the fuck? Like, where did you get all of this money? He's just this mysterious character, man, and he's a really interesting dude. But you know what? I think the comparisons are going to be drawn to movies like Ed Wood and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, this person's making a bad movie, but like, at least they're making a movie. Like, I think that was kind of the ultimate.
Did you realize other buddy was in the movie too?
Who?
Greg.
I did not. Who was he?
He was the casting agent.
The casting agent.
Like, when he was basically interviewing himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Like,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was him, actually.
I actually didn't realize that. That's cool.
I didn't realize that. I looked it up.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, he was like kind of like eccentric, over the top casting agent.
Yeah, okay. Like, he was the one that called in like the
chick.
Creepy old lady.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I love the Tommy cameo in the post-credit scene.
Oh,
my god,
too good.
It's so good. But no, the movie has and I said this to you after we watched it. The movie does have like a heart to it, where Like, yeah, it's funny and haha, The Room's a bad movie and this is a comedy about the making of it or whatever. But like it really is about friendship and working towards accomplishing your dreams, And I don't know, to that end, I just really had a great time with it. I mean, it was funny. It to me had a little dramatic flair to it because it is about those themes that I mentioned. And I think it handles those themes effectively, and it's got a great cast. It's a really nice companion piece to a movie that I already love. How was this for you, having not seen The Room?
It's just a solid experience still. Like, it's still just a fun movie to watch, and it actually made me want to actually watch The Room. So
yeah, I mean, in other words, you don't need to have seen The Room to enjoy this movie.
No, you definitely don't.
Because Todd didn't. I mean, if you just have like a base knowledge, if you have existed on the internet for any length of time, you have seen clips from The Room. And I think that's really all you need going into this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really appreciate what this movie is, and and the lengths that they went to. And I was talking to you while we're watching the movie together. I was like, oh my God, after we get done with this, I need to go on YouTube and see these shot by shot comparisons of like how close it is. Because I knew watching it, I was like, oh, it's close. Like, but they did me one better during the end credits. Like as the credits are rolling, they actually put them side by side from the Room and the kind of recreation, and that they did for the movie.
It's close,
and it is so good. Like, they fucking nailed it. And I want to double back on James Franco, because his performance as Tommy is so spot on in this movie. I don't know if he got any nods at the Oscars for his performance. I don't know if he was nominated. If he wasn't, he should have been. Because, I mean, it goes beyond an impression where you like forget that it's James Franco,
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just fucking nails that character. And, Dave Franco is really good too. I don't want to I don't want to gloss over the fact that Dave Franco is he's really good too, but he's not embodying Greg Sestero the way that James Franco is embodying Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
What a just a great movie. It's one of those where I'm just like, I need to own this. I need to own this and just regularly watch Disaster Artist and The Room like back to back. Yeah, so we had a topic in mind, kind of a main topic. We've been doing the solo topics for a while because the topics we've been choosing have been meatier. But as I'm looking at this clock tick by, Todd, we're getting the topic that we picked. I think we'll save it for another day.
Okay.
Because I think that the topic that we picked could easily be an hour plus.
Yeah.
Just on its own. And I don't want to, you guys have shit to do. I don't want to keep you here listening to a 2.5 hour podcast. So I'm going to pick something shorter instead. So, and this will throw Todd for a loop too, so it'll be good.
Oh no. We're doing it live.
ASMR, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be good?
I'd be like, really? Again?
We'll just touch on it again. Fuck it. This week on March 20th would have been the 90th birthday of a Mr. Fred McFeely Rogers. And I just want to talk about Mr. Rogers, man. I want to celebrate Mr. Rogers. I want to know how you feel about Mr. Rogers. Because I don't know about you, but like, I totally grew up with Mr. Rogers.
Same. I watched the show.
You know what it was too is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood would air on PBS, and especially at Granny's house, like growing up at Granny's house and stuff like that, PBS was basically always on.
Mm-hmm.
Between the shit like Dragon Tales and Between the Lions and stuff like that, like Mr. Rogers was a constant in the PBS kind of rotation, and Mr. Rogers, man, like it was a funny. I took a funny, I guess, journey with Mr. Rogers, where when I was a kid, I loved Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And then as I got older in my sort of teenage years, I would make fun of him and thought he was corny, you know, or whatever. And now as an adult, I just have an endless respect for Mr. Rogers. Mm-hmm. Like, what a fucking great man.
I never was the angsty teenager that made fun of Mr. Rogers. I always respected the good vibes.
Well, the thing about it is like that was kind of the thing, is everybody would make the comments about like, oh, Mr. Rogers probably a child molester or whatever, you know.
Ugh.
Mr. Rogers is such an extraordinary. I mean, a friend of mine made a comment on Facebook and the reason this is all kind of being brought up on his what would have been his 90th birthday. Focus Features released the trailer for the upcoming documentary "Would You Be My Neighbor?" Mm-hmm. And it's an amazing trailer. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it in the description. It's so great. I cannot wait to watch this documentary. I love a good documentary, and one about Mr. Rogers, I can't fucking wait. Mm-hmm. But he made the comment, like, he is like the only celebrity you can point to that has never had any sort of scandal. You know, like, there's never been any bad kind of news come to light about Mr. Rogers because there's nothing bad to say about him.
Yeah, because he was a legitimately good dude. Like,
just a great fucking man. You know, like that is what we should all aspire to be. We should all aspire to be Mr. Rogers. Like, what an inspiration. Mm-hmm. You know, I like the things that he's done, not just for public television, but like for just humanity. I mean, and he's just an impressive dude too, if you think about it. I mean, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood had like 900 episodes. You know? And yeah, like 895 episodes. The first episode broadcasted in 1968, and I think the last one was in 2000 something.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, and he never, you know, like every time he walked onto that set and opened that door, that was always him singing. That was always, you know, live piano being played. I mean, everything was done live. He did all the voices for all the puppets. He wrote all the songs. I mean, just crazy. Just a crazy talent. The guy was and you read these facts about him, like kind of posthumously, and you're just like, shit, like the man lived his life in a way, like he was not just a character on a show. You know what I mean? Like, that was just him. He was not acting. That was just the way the dude was. And it's hilarious. He actually, have you seen this? He was on Candid Camera once. Mm-hmm. And it's one of his few kind of like off the neighborhood performance. Or I say performances. It's kind of one of the few times he was on TV other than his own show.
Okay.
He made an appearance on Sesame Street. He was on like some other show as a brief like cameo, but it was rare that he was not just on The Neighborhood. And anyway, he was on Candid Camera, and the joke they were playing on these people on this particular episode were the kind of hotel. It was in a hotel, and they were leading them to their room and seeing how people would react to there not being a TV in the room. Mm-hmm. Seems so simple. People are like freaking out, like, what the fuck, there's no TV, you know? And Mr. Rogers was like, oh no, that's cool, I don't watch TV anyway. He's like, I got enough TV, I'm on TV. Basically. And was just totally like calm and collected about it. He is just the most centered motherfucker that has ever lived. Like, I couldn't even imagine being that calm and at peace with myself, you know?
Seriously.
And you read about this stuff, like he was a vegetarian, and his reason was that he doesn't want to eat anything that has a mother. What an adorable reason to not eat meat. You know?
I kind of want you to just read the facts.
I have some facts. So all of the sweaters that he wore on the show were made by his mother. That's a commonly known fact.
Yeah, I actually knew that, yeah.
He would always, you know, in the way the show would open, he would come in, he would, you know, kind of take off his kind of more formal clothes. He would put on the sweater and take off his dress shoes and put on the sneakers, and again, live singing while he's doing all of this. The only reason the sneakers were introduced was apparently the normal dress shoes would make more noise, like when he was moving from the set to set.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he was a vegetarian. He stayed married to the same woman. Their marriage lasted 47 years. He didn't smoke. He didn't drink. The only even slightly scandalous thing that Mr. Rogers seemed to do was that every morning in his adult life, he swam laps naked. That was it.
Disgusting. No, I'm just...
That's what a fucking scandal, right? There are weird like rumors that went around on the internet for a long time that Mr. Rogers was like a military sniper or whatever, and that he wore like tattoos sweaters to hide his like tattoos and shit like that. And it's so ridiculous. Like, he was a total pacifist, you know. I mean, I you know, just looking at some of these, I mean, it's incredible. There was one rumor, I don't think this is true, that Mr. Rogers was like 143 pounds, like his entire adult life. Like, he made sure he was 143 pounds because that's the amount of letters it takes to spell I love you.
That's a load of bullshit.
Like, but I could kind of believe it in a weird way, though. You know, like that's
in a weird way. In a weird way, yeah. But that's a load of bullshit.
That's a Mr. Rogers ass reasoning for being 143 pounds. I just remember reading that. He was red-green colorblind, which I did not know. And yeah, like, he would touch on serious issues. Like, they had a on Twitch, they had a Mr. Rogers marathon, kind of like how they did with Bob Ross. They had a Mr. Rogers marathon recently, like within the past year, and I would just occasionally tune into it. You know, it took them like fucking.
I didn't even know about that.
Oh yeah, it took them like 2 fucking weeks to get through all of the episodes, but they did
like,
it.
I mean, I fucked with the Bob Ross. I didn't even know they did a Mr. Rogers one.
Yeah, they did a whole Mr. Rogers like marathon where they just played every episode.
Nice.
And like from the very beginning when it was still in like black and white. And yeah, like I would tune in occasionally, and I mean, he did an entire week on like death. He did a week on divorce. He did a week on like when the fucking like JFK assassination, to sort of explain that to kids, you know.
Wow. I respect that like so hard.
Oh yeah, dude. Like what is assassination? Why would somebody do this, you know, blah blah blah. Just what an incredible man, you know, like, and it's funny because it's one of those things where, you know, you can say to yourself, like, oh, I'm gonna make sure my kid sees this. I'm gonna make sure my kid plays this game. I'm gonna make sure my kid, you know, sees this aspect of my childhood. I am going to make sure my children know who Mr. Rogers is. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel that, dude.
That's the kind of shit that my kids need to see, and that I think every kid needs to see. And because, you know, he ended every episode saying, you know, there's no one on this earth like you, and I like you just the way you are. What an important statement. You know? Like, how often is it in your life that somebody just simply tells you that they just like you how you are? You know?
Never.
Exactly. Like it's just so comforting. Like, to watch an episode of Mr. Rogers and this guy who he just likes you exactly how you are. Don't change. Everybody's unique, and he loves the uniqueness in you. He was like a fucking, he was like the closest thing to Jesus Christ, you know, in the modern time. I mean, it's just crazy. I can't even fathom, I can't even put into words how much I respect Fred Rogers. And the older I get, the more important I realize, the more I realize how important his television work was. And I mean, he did. I loved the segments on. I love the segments on the show where he would do the sort of like How It's Made shit. He kind of did How It's Made before How It's Made existed. I mean, he touched on race You know, there's a there's actually, it's been kind of making the rounds lately. There's a StoryCorps where they interviewed the actor who played Officer Clemens.
Yeah.
You may have seen this. It's been kind of making the rounds on the internet, but
yeah, I read about it like recently. Yeah.
Yeah, where he described a scene where Mr. Rogers was dipping his feet into a kiddie pool, and Officer Clemens, you know, comes into the scene. He invites him to come and take off his shoes and dip his feet into the pool with him, and it showed, you know, Officer Clemens' black skin with Mr. Rogers' white skin, and then after they were done, Mr. Rogers dried his feet off for him, you know. And just like, holy shit, like this man just making a statement about race in a racially charged time, especially to a black police officer nonetheless. I mean, this is shit that's still relevant today. You know, these are kind of timeless topics that Mr. Rogers was not scared to touch on, not afraid to talk to children with a level of respect and to say, hey, you're important and you matter and you deserve to know this information, not to talk down to them, you know? I think that's what makes Mr. Rogers special, is he treated children and he treated education and he treated feelings with a certain level of respect that is not usually afforded to these kids. These kids are not often talked to like they're just people, you know? I mean, they're measurable. Children are important, and the things that they're taught are important. And I don't know. I could go on all day about Mr. Rogers. I feel like I'm dominating this. This. How do you feel about Mr. Rogers? I mean, I know you chimed in. I mean, you respect him obviously, but
you kind of covered it all, my man.
I mean,
like I try to chime in as much as I could, but you're basically saying everything that I you know, I agree with you.
Do you have any specific Mr. Rogers memories? Like anything that you remember? Like any episodes you remember?
God, if I like dug through my brain, yeah.
If you gave yourself a lobotomy, like if you lobotomized yourself,
basically, yeah.
Dug through your brain at the old Mr. Rogers shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I love and respect Mr. Rogers, and he did it all in the same studio. You know, he's a constant, man. Mr. Rogers is a constant. I mean, I talked about how Burnout Remastered's a worm cleanse for the soul. Mr. Rogers is a fucking worm cleanse for the soul. You know what I mean?
It's title of this episode.
Probably so, actually. Seems like that'd be a good title. Anyway, that's my Mr. Rogers topic. That's how do you feel about that topic for it being by the seat of my pants?
It's good. It's good shit. I was wondering where you were gonna go with it.
Because the thing about it is we had and we'll reveal this when we do it, but we had this topic that is kind of much larger. That would easily be. I mean, it's something where I'm like, I can't believe we haven't touched on this in the past. You know,
especially like when we're almost like 50 episodes in.
Yeah, I mean, we're on episode 42 right now, and we haven't touched on this topic. I mean, it's gonna be good when we touch on it, but I feel like it's almost gonna have to be like an evergreen episode because we're just gonna go on and on and on and on. So yeah, I wanted something simple. I thought it was relevant because this week was, you know, would have been his 90th birthday. Mr. Rogers is very much in the conversation right now, so I don't know. I wanted to strike that Mr. Rogers iron while it's hot. Anyway, you got anything else to say before we wrap it up?
I think you were good. I think we're good.
All right. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, Todd. You guys have been listening to Nerd Bourbon. If you had a good time listening to us talk about video games and Fred Rogers, why don't you go ahead and throw us a follow or a sub on whatever service you're listening to us on. If there's a service we aren't currently on that you want us on, let us know so we can make that happen. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns, please leave them for me. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdbourbon. We're at nerdbourbon on Twitter and on Twitch. And beyond that, the best and only way for us to grow is if you tell your friends about us. So thank you guys so much for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
know, everyone has lots of ways of feeling. And all those ways of feeling are fine. It's what we do with our feelings that matter in this life. I trust that you're growing in ways that will help you with whatever feelings you may have when you're a child and when you're a grown-up. I hope you're able to grow to respect whoever you are inside. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling you know that I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will too. You always make each day such a special day. You know how? By just your being you. Only one person in this whole world like you. That's you yourself. I'll be back next time. Bye-bye.